The coming decade will be decisive to limit the rise in global temperatures and to take the necessary steps towards climate neutrality. The future energy system will be based on flexibility, reliability and stability, and much higher levels of electrification than what we have now. In response to the geopolitical developments over the last years, we are becoming much less dependent on other countries for our energy supplies, and of course renewable energy is really at the front and centre of these efforts. It's both cleaner and safer, and it's homegrown. So it's good that we now have an EU-wide binding target for 2030 to reach 42.5% of renewable energy in our system, with an ambition to go to 45%. This sends an important signal to attract the considerable investments that will be needed for the clean energy transition. And we have seen in 2022 that the deployment of wind and solar increased around 50% compared to the preceding year. And we see that this sector is a major supplier of jobs, with more than 150,000 people employed in the wind sector in the European Union. And wind and solar together in the same year generated 22% of our electricity, overtaking natural gas for the first time. Here in Greece, progress has been very impressive. In September, green electricity production increased to record levels, and for 10 consecutive hours, renewable energy covered up to 140% of demand, channeling the surplus to exports. But this positive trend should of course not obscure the fact that there are real challenges, both for our industry, high inflation, complex permitting procedures, and fierce global competition, in particular from China. These challenges have been addressed in our just adopted Wind Power Action Plan and the communication on offshore renewables. Both of these important documents acknowledge the need to strengthen our supply chains, to increase investment in infrastructure and grids, to make sure that we innovate and make sure that we build the skills that are needed in these markets to make Europe's renewable sector the cutting edge of clean tech in the world. Competitiveness and the ability of Europe's industry to compete globally is also the focus of the Net Zero Industry Act and the Critical Raw Materials Act that we proposed earlier this year. At the same time, the aim is to ensure the supply of critical raw materials in a more sustainable way while we reduce our reliance on imports. To properly integrate renewables into the energy system, we need to increase the flexibility and technological advancement of our electricity system. Energy storage has a key role to play in a more electrified system. It can help to decarbonize and electrify, it can help reduce electricity price volatility, in particular in peak hours, and it can empower consumers to adapt their consumption to the market conditions and their own needs and preferences. So to facilitate this, we have published recommendations on energy storage, looking at the pressing issues such as regulatory barriers, consideration of energy storage as part of grid planning and operation, and of course financing. So now we have to build on this dynamic to continue to decarbonize our economies quickly, including with the help of recovery and resilience plans and our Repower EU chapters, as well as the national energy and climate plans. So there's still work to be done, but importantly, it really is time for implementation and delivering. So with that, my best wishes to all of you for a fruitful and successful forum. Ευχαριστώ.